Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today for marketing for travel businesses. So I'm Rebecca Soames. I'm head of digital marketing here at Traveltek, and today we're joined by our colleagues over at Force24. And so what we'll be discussing today is how to stand out in a sea of competition. So just to let you know, this session is being recorded, so we will share the recording with you afterwards. And also, we will be sharing the contact information for everyone. So if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to us with that. And also we have the Q&A function that you'll see at the bottom. So if you have any questions that come up throughout, please feel free to pop them in there. So just a quick introduction to all of us. So as I mentioned, I'm Rebecca Soames, head of digital marketing here. I'm joined by Cress, who is our chief commercial officer, Adam Oldfield, who is founder and CEO of Force24, and James Skellington, who is the head of strategic new business over at Force24. So it's going to hand it over to Cress real quick so she can give an introduction to who we are.
Thanks, Rebecca. So pleasure for Traveltek to be hosting this morning. So for those of you that don't know us, Traveltek is an award-winning software company. We exclusively work within the leisure industry for travel, and we've been around for over 25 years now. We currently service over 180 customers on a global basis, and that ranges from blue chip organizations that trade in a number of countries with us, to smaller boutique startup companies. So we really work with a range of operators, some who simply take travel APIs from us, right up to companies that run their entire travel systems using Traveltek's technology. As well as obviously the customer side, we also operate with over 300 suppliers. So we work with all of the airlines, the hotel connectivity partners, and we're probably best known within the UK industry for our award-winning cruise API. So Traveltek has always been synonymous with the cruise industry and the dynamic packaging part of travel. So I would definitely say that we are travel experts. Delighted today that Adam and James are obviously joining us. So Traveltek work with obviously a number of different technical operators. We implemented Force24 at Traveltek at the start of this year, and I've been really impressed with how helpful they've been. We've seen a real uptick in our engagement across the platform since we started using the product, and we're really excited for Adam to kind of share his energy and passion for CRM automation with you all this morning. So I'll now hand back to Rebecca to just give a quick overview on how to stand out in a sea of competition before we obviously welcome Adam to do an intro for you today. So thanks very much, Rebecca.
Thank you, Chris. All right, so a quick overview of our agenda. So first, we're going to be talking about the importance of marketing for travel businesses. Then we'll go over some quick top tips for how you can have a successful digital presence. Then I'll hand over to Adam Oldfield, who will be talking about the attention economy and Force24. And finally, we'll wrap up with some questions that you can post throughout the session, and we'll answer them at the very end. So just quickly going over how can you stay competitive? So just looking at these statistics that we pulled from Travel Weekly. So we can see that 81% of travelers are now conducting their research online before committing to any form of bookings. And 66% of travelers say that personalized offers are what's driving their loyalty and increasing bookings. So from a travel brands perspective, 70% of travel brands are planning to increase their investment in automation in the next year, and 39% of travel marketers are planning to spend more on their tech. So as the market becomes more competitive, more new entrants into the field, it's so important that you kind of look at what's happening now and learn how you can stay competitive. Found another statistics on how advisors are attracting and keeping their clients. So as you can see, free social media and websites and email are top of the list for both attracting new clients and retaining current ones. But when you look at the emails in the third section there, 88% of travel businesses are actually relying on it to maintain their relationships with current clients. So email marketing is remaining one of the most powerful ones for nurturing your customer loyalty through personalized offers, travel tips, and reminders. Free social media, also a fantastic one for you to be using to engage new customers. So 74% of businesses are using it to attract their new client, but 62% are also using it to keep their existing clients engaged and stay front of mind. So obviously, as you show up in people's feeds, they remember who you are, they see what you might be offering, and are more likely to engage with you directly. And next, we have the websites as well. So websites are essential because everything that you do ideally should land back onto a website, bringing you more credibility, bringing your branding, providing information, and giving all those details. Because if you think about it, when you're on someone's LinkedIn feed, Instagram feed, or if you're sending an email, you have a very short attention span there. But how can you provide more detail to people who are actually interested in the product? And that's where you're going to find your website. So having a well-designed, informative website is going to serve as your central hub for both your potential and your current customers to land on, explore your services, make your bookings, and find any updates that you might have. And then talking about the key marketing challenges and opportunities that you might be facing. So obviously the challenges and opportunities are the same. It's all about how you can kind of leverage what you're doing and make sure that you're addressing the challenges to stay ahead of your competition. So first we have kind of personalization and relationship building. So in today's digital age, building personal connections with your clients can be extremely challenging, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of resource. However, it's what makes your brand memorable and what makes it seem like an actual dialogue that you're having with them rather than a generic mass email that you might be sending out. So travelers kind of expect that service to feel responsive and tailored to them. And without the right tools, delivering this level of personalization at scale can be really difficult, but it's essential that you do this to kind of stand out in the competitive market. Next, we have digital and social media presence, which obviously is essential. It's no longer an optional thing to have. It's what you want for people to be able to find you and interact with you. And it's an absolute must-have for any travel business. So if you're not already investing in your digital social media presence, right now is the perfect time to start doing that. So travelers expect to find everything online, as we just mentioned, from their inspiration to the booking options. I know personally that I might use a travel agent or a travel advisor to book my holidays, but I know there's going to be so much research that goes into this, and I want to know what's available before I start having that conversation. It's quite can be very resource intensive, but there's a lot out there. For example, Traveltek, we have a cruise website builder. So using our API, you can just plug in your brand and have a website up and running easily. So you don't necessarily have to have the background to be able to build a website, but working with travel technology companies that can help you with that will get you off the ground. And then we have automation and efficiency in marketing, which Adam's going to talk about in length. But obviously, it's a game changer for us. So when you have limited resources, the manual processes are what's going to slow down your marketing efforts. It's what's going to maybe put you off from investing your time in it, and it will leave you a lot less time for your strategy and your innovation. So by leveraging the automation, you can kind of streamline your outreach and make sure that you're reaching your customers with the right message and at the right time. So then you can focus more on like how you grow your business. And finally, it's the clear value proposition and how you differentiate yourself as a brand. So as we mentioned, travel is highly competitive. Most businesses are struggling with their tight budgets right now, especially. So it's really hard to build a unique and memorable brand, but that's what helps you stand out essentially. It's what helps you clearly communicate your unique value, what makes your services different, and why your clients should choose you over the competitors. So being able to emphasize this distinct value proposition is what's going to help you cut through all the noise that's out there. And finally, obviously, this is a quick crash course into marketing for you, but some top marketing tips that I would have as a digital marketer. So firstly is finding your niche and remembering the 4 C's of marketing. So finding that niche is what's going to attract the right kind of clients and differentiate your brand. So maybe cruise is your specialty, maybe it's luxury travel, maybe it's sports tours or something that's very specific. In that case, what you want to consider is your 4 C's. So your customer, your target audience. So consider their needs, their wants, and their preferences. The cost is the price and the product clear? Do you have any additional costs, any additional services that you could offer them? The convenience of it, how easy is it for them to buy your product or your service? And the communication of it. So how is the product and service promoted? How is it messaged to your target audience? Next, we have, as we've mentioned at length, improving your digital presence and being mobile first. So most people are doing their research on their mobile phones these days. So having a mobile first approach means that your website is going to be optimized for a cell phone, but also if someone's looking at it on a desktop, it's much easier to do the transition that way. So when you're considering your digital presence and your online websites, just make sure that you're being mobile friendly and that everything is present and clear and clearly branded. Next, we have know your audience and sell to them. So understand who your ideal clients are, what they're looking for, what motivates them, tailor your message to their needs and desires. And the more you know about your audience, the more effective your marketing is going to be, essentially. And then pick your social media platforms wisely and post consistently. You don't have to be on every single platform. Find the one that's right for you, and just make sure that you're staying consistent, that you're constantly posting so that you're remaining at the front of mind for people. Next is join trends, but stay true to your brand. I think it's important that you don't just think of it as like a TikTok dance or something like that. It's more than that. It's about being able to talk to people about something that they're interested in the moment. So for example, when White Lotus first came out, you guys might have seen that Sicily became a really focal point for people wanting to travel. This summer, I've seen more about Sicily than I've ever seen in my life. So next season, it's going to be about Thailand. So create some blog post content about the places that are featured on there so you can be on trend without having to compromise and do something that's not on brand, like a TikTok dance. Next one is embracing AI and automation, but keeping it human. I can instantly tell when something's written by ChatGPT. I think it's really important that you use automation at the right time for the right thing. So automating tasks that are kind of repetitive, that's where it's great. For example, I use it in email marketing all the time to where I can create this automation journey that sets off as soon as someone enters into that bucket. And I don't have to worry about it. It's kind of a set it and forget it. So using it for things like that rather than using it for your messaging, I think is key. You can obviously always use ChatGPT for the inspiration, but it's important that people see that you're writing something that comes from you and not just some computer. And then focus on email marketing. As I said, leads are so valuable. So focusing on nurturing your contacts that you already have is key. And email is one of the best and most effective ways that you can engage them over time, share updates, and offer your exclusive deals with. And finally, my favorite is getting reviews and shouting about them. So reviews are incredibly influential, especially in the travel industry. People want to know that you're a trustworthy partner to work with, and encouraging your clients to kind of leave the positive feedback and share those testimonials widely will help them not only know that you're a great person to work with, but it also helps them with inspiration, seeing how you might have worked with someone so that they can see how you could work with them specifically. So that's it from me when it comes to kind of the general trends, what you can look out for. And then I'm going to hand it over to Adam now. We'll stop sharing so that you can share, Adam.
Sure, let me just do that. Yes, I think the slides are going to be available. We've got some follow-up going out. I've just seen a question in the Q&A. Right, I am going to share my screen, which looks like this. It's not in presenter mode because I always prefer to run it like this. Hope that makes sense. Can everybody see? Can you see my screen? Perfect. Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Rebecca. There was some good points in there, and I was making notes, and I'll reference you on a couple of occasions. So, yeah. So first of all, let's just understand who Force24 is and our part to play. So Force24 is and has been for a long time one of the fastest UK-based fastest growing automation platforms in the UK. We focus right here on UK marketeers. One of our key business sectors is travel and UK travel. We are all about developing tools that help you interact with your customers more effectively. This on screen is probably a lot to take in right now, but essentially it's just demonstrating that we connect to everything: CRM, websites, any other data sources that you may have. And our job is to provide triggering and decisioning and monitoring on how you communicate with the people out the back end through everything you're doing. Email, be it SMS, be it direct mail. It should all be orchestrated based on the first party data insights that are held in CRM coming from the website, whatever it may be. So we'll move on to why that's important in just a moment. But before I do, I just want to introduce myself a little bit more. And so firstly, why it's probably why I do have some insight to share is that the fact that we work with 600 UK brands and about 5,000 UK marketeers. And one of the features of my job is I get to see who's doing really good things and which are the teams that need a little bit more help. And it's that sort of polar ends of the spectrum that helps me understand, well, the teams that are doing really well seem to be doing this. Teams that need a little bit more help seem to be struggling because they're doing this. And so what I want to do is try and bring some of those insights to you so you can hopefully move forwards. But before we do that, the first thing that I want to do is I want to set the landscape. I want you to understand what the battlefield you're playing in is. And this is a really interesting statement. And it's your brand craves attention. Attention is not specific to your industry, nor does it care about marketing budgets. It cares about quality and relevance. Your attention is spread very thinly and the competition is fierce. We rely on the social media algorithms and spam filters to tell us what's important. And so the point to make there is that we are battling in what we call the attention economy. So the attention economy is everybody that's fighting for your eyeballs. We know as consumers of content that we don't settle for second best when we're sat on the sofa and we're flicking through Instagram or whatever it may be. It's all about quality and relevance. And so why would our brand be any different? So really, to break that statement apart, it's quite important to recognize you're not in competition just with other travel brands. You're in competition for attention across every brand on the planet. So let's move through where I want to share you where our customers are spending their time. And this is a really interesting, we won't spend ages looking at this, but I just want to show you this is what people are doing every single day. So this particular view is of a 46-year-old age demographic. And it says 26% of my digital attention is centered around email. So Rebecca, you were talking about how important it is, and it really is. But it's about saying if you're going to compete in the attention economy, well, actually, there's quite a few other channels which are really important to you as well, of which Facebook, no surprise, which beats Instagram in this particular demographic. Instagram's only a small percentage at 7%. SMS is an extremely important channel for this demographic as well. So is WhatsApp. So if we understand where our customers are, and let's just have a flick down because not everybody's working with a 46-plus-year-old audience. How does a 25 to 45-year-old change? Well, the numbers are slightly different. Instagram's more important. WhatsApp's more important. SMS is just the same. Email and Facebook are still pretty important. So you can see how the pie is skewed ever so slightly as I go down. And if I go down one stage further, email is almost disappeared off the chart here. Only 9% of the digital engagement is spent on email in the 16 to 24-year-old market. Instagram is massive. TikTok, Snapchat, as you would expect, are really big channels, and it's important for us to focus on all of those things. Now, why is that really important for me to tell you? Well, let's just go further on to just frame the battlefield. I want to ask the question, Chris, I'm going to ask you, if it's all right, if you'll indulge me. How far does the average person scroll per day? Just think about it. You're sat on the sofa and you're doing this or whatever, or you're reading your emails, whatever. How far do you think it is?
A lot.
Yeah, right. Okay, I'm gonna quantify it for you. I'll show you how far it is. It's 300 meters a day. And to put that into context, look at that is actually the same height as the Eiffel Tower. So imagine every morning thinking, crikey, I've got to do my 300 meters worth of scrolling today. You know, if that was sit-ups, I wish I could get as healthy from scrolling as you would from sit-ups or push-ups. But 300 meters, 300. And the average recipient in the UK receives 120 emails. Rebecca, you received 120 emails yesterday, probably, possibly. Remember one of them.
Only the ones from people that I know, like Chris.
Exactly. And that's actually not those emails. They're the commercial emails that you receive. It's 120 commercial emails a day that you receive. But if I was to really push you, you may be able to remember one yesterday, maybe, but it's an outside chance. And anything that you would remember because it was super personal, super targeted, and super relevant to you. So what we're talking about when we talk about the attention economy is know the slices of the pies for your demographic, know that the average person is 300 meters per day and 120 emails and probably cannot remember one thing that they engaged with yesterday. Only those things that have got absolute relevance actually retained. Sorry, I don't know, was that being a question? I'm not sure if questions are.
So
We'll
I
have a look
think
at.
someone had asked if you can make your screen bigger, but maybe if you X out of the format background on the right there, it should make it a tad bigger,
It
and
will,
that should hopefully help.
there we go. Okay, but here's the problem. So where we've got an issue is the fact that with the rise of automation, with the rise of ChatGPT, everything that's going on, the number of emails per day is expected to go up, not down. And so when we say that, what that means is that the competition for the attention is going to get more fierce. And obviously what's going to happen with social media, the same. So then when I said earlier on that we are reliant on spam filters, social media algorithms to control what we see. Otherwise, there's too much. So we understand where we are. Now, competing takes know-how, takes continual evolving. It's so difficult for brands to skill up internally, which is why Force24 exists. Our job is to basically build technology and deliver that know-how through our training, our access to our experts, that's going to get you to be able to crack that economy and actually really start to succeed. And I'm going to give you one of those examples right now. So one of the things that I always see in the marketing teams that aren't performing quite as well and need a little bit more help is that we look at segmentation in this way, right? So butcher, baker, candlestick maker, something like that. Yeah. So males, females, or males that live in Leeds or whatever. And it's that kind of segmentation, which is everything to us. That's, because you were once that, or you once told me that your age is X, or you live in this area, that's everything to me. But I want to show you this. Who's seen this before? Have you seen this one before, guys? Right. Here is the problem with that form of segmentation. So Ozzy Osbourne, King Charles, on paper, are the same person, obviously taking out titles. But we can see clearly there's different aspects of their character, which are very, very different. So the fact they live in a castle, the fact they've been married twice, wealthy and famous, probably got similar postcodes as well. I don't know. But the point is, you cannot rely on that data to accurately compete in the attention economy. It's far too nebulous. So instead, I want to take you through a quick analogy. And Rebecca, will you play the game with me? Right. Okay. You walk into my restaurant. Okay. And I'm a restaurateur. You walk into my restaurant. I'm stood behind the counter. What do you want me to ask you?
Would you like a table?
Yes. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well done. Would you like a table? And we can agree that that question in that time has got a 100% chance of success. Unless you're delivering something to the restaurant, that is literally 100% chance of success. Right. I then take you, I sit you at your table, pull a chair out, sit you down. Now, what would you like me to ask you?
Ask me if I'd like a drink.
You are literally the best that has ever played this game
I
with me.
used
You
to
know
work in
all
the
the answers.
restaurant industry, so it's literally a script I'm familiar with.
It's brilliant. Okay, so you're right. So now the question is, would you like a drink? So we can agree now that that question has a 100% chance of success. But the question that had a 100% chance of success less than 10 meters ago and 20 seconds ago has now got a 0% chance of success. Would you like a table? I'm sat at a table. Okay, so we recognize that we have to move people through a funnel. Now, I have not actually bought anything yet in this restaurant. I've not transacted. I've not committed myself to anything. I haven't even got the menu or a drink or anything. So what if instead of looking at segmentation, Ozzy Osbourne, King Charles, yes, we should do that, definitely. But what if we were to look at how we operate in our lives normally and how we would treat somebody if they came in store and we were talking to them about a holiday, how would we treat them then? What would we do differently? What are the steps that we would nurture them through? And if we did, oops, sorry, I'll skip that one. I'll go back to this one. Oh, I'm a slide missing. Don't worry, I'll make it up. If we were to treat that slightly differently, maybe our segmentation would be, okay, these are the people that are at the front of the restaurant. That's segment number 1. So I need to ask them if they'd like a table. Then these are the people in segment number 2, which are people sat at the table. So I need to ask them if they'd like a drinks menu. These are 3, 4, 5, and we kind of get the picture, right? So segmentation where it's more about where they are, what their attitude is, what their behavior has been, is far more powerful than me trying to look at your dress when you walk through the door and say, oh, you're coming for a big romantic night out, therefore you should have the lobster. Well, no. You're jumping to conclusions. It's the first thing. Let's take you through the chain. Okay, so we understand that. Now, the next thing is recognizing, just to help with that a little bit. So we conducted some research some time ago and we said, all right, what does a happy path look like for an average consumer in UK travel and leisure? So travel and brilliant. So we said, what's a happy path? And so a happy path, this blue line, think of that blue line as your engagement with the brand, right? How much time you're committing to this brand, etc. And so you see the gray box. The gray box is the commercial zone. That's where I buy stuff. And the really interesting thing about this market is that commercial zone is massive. Most of my time engaging with your brand, if the right price, right deal, right inspiration, whatever it is, hit me, I might just place a deposit. And so what we can see here, the line goes up when we first find a new prospect. They walk into the store, they fill out a pop-up on the website, whatever. What we see is a rapid spike of engagement followed by a decline. And this is fairly common because I shop around, I go over here, I go over there. Remember, this is the happy path. Not everybody does this. Happy path is people that book. So we see this drop, and this drop is then picked up to the point of booking made. Now, obviously, if I'm making a booking, it would make more sense that I'm becoming more and more and more and more engaged with this brand. And our observation in the clients that we've been monitoring is that that's about really from first appearing onto the scene into making the booking, on average, about 4, 5, 6 weeks, something along those lines. Right. We then have this very interesting period here. So once the booking is made, there is a point where my digital engagement can actually be higher at the point of my holiday departure, higher than the actual booking itself. Now, that could take into account whether it was a luxury experience, therefore I was on the phone a lot more. So, but the reality of it is, what this is saying to us is that if I was to cross-sell or upsell at any point, these are the key zones. And right in the middle is where you are least likely to achieve success it's not, you're still in the commercial zone, which is good. So the commercial zone ends down there, but it's not as high. Now, here's the other point, return home journeys. Now, return home journeys, look at that engagement is potentially, it's dipping off over the period of weeks. So you know what it's like. You've been on holiday 2 weeks ago and somebody says, oh, did you have a nice holiday? You're like, what? Have I been on holiday? I've not been on holiday. Oh my God. So that is sort of reflective of that sentiment. And then we have these, I apologize, that's 12 months. That's a creative bug on our part. There's a 12-month, 24, 36-month bump. And now that is of the booking, not the travel. So those are the observations that we've made, is this is the path, this is the happy path that says, if I want to speak to somebody from a commercial intent perspective, I need to center it around these bumps. Now, that doesn't mean I don't talk to you when you're in the lower points. It means that I drive value statements. I'm there trying to improve our standing in your eyes, because it's unlikely you're going to buy from me straight away. I just want you to know that we're a great provider. We do great this, and you had a great time with us, so on and so forth. But when I want to ask for money, or ask for commitment, I should do it around these big bumps. Hope that makes sense. Sorry. Right. Next thing I want to show you quickly. This is, again, it's another really important observation. So when I was talking about Instagram, Facebook, etc. earlier, a lot of people don't realize that platforms like ours are connected to those platforms. So what you can do is you can serve first-party data insight into audiences. So if you come in store, you're on the phone to me, and you say you're interested in Cyprus, and I say, cool, that's awesome. And I mark it down in CRM, Cyprus. That should then put you in a segment of Cyprus interest, and then Facebook, Instagram are now showing you Cyprus adverts. You know, quite often we think it's all about, you know, is my phone listening to me? No, the person on the other end of the phone just made a note of it, and that then synchronized, and then it pushed it up. And so, yes, there is probably some spying going on, but that's not something I want to get into right now. But so that technology exists, it's really easy, and we should be sharing all of those insights to power what we see online through Facebook, Insta, Meta, whatever. But why this is important is because this is another really interesting observation. When I arrive at an Instagram advert and I click on it and I've been inspired and I go to the website and I have a look, 3, 2, 1, pops up a pop-up. Right, now, this is a really interesting pre-pandemic pop-up accept rates, which meant that the percentage of people that positively interacted with a pop-up was less than a whole percentage across the whole platform. So across all of our clients, it was less than a whole percentage, which usually means that, you know, you used to see a pop-up and you'd be like, go away, get out of my face. It offended me. Now, brands have convinced us good things come from pop-ups. So we're on pop-ups and we're like, well, I don't want to pay full price. Might not even want to buy. Oh, go on, I'll give you my data. And so we've come to peace with the fact that we're prepared to give our data away in these pop-ups in exchange for a reward of some description. It doesn't always have to be money. It could be, let us send you the ultimate Cyprus guide or whatever it may be. Who knows? Sometimes it's money. But Rebecca, what do you think the current pop-up accept rate is today? Bearing in mind, it was less than 1% in 2019.
I mean, honestly, personally speaking, it's almost always for me. I'm like, oh, if you're going to give me 15% off, I'll sign up with it. So I would say personally, I'm over the 50% line.
Oh, I wish. It's not quite that high, but it's still high. 22, 23%. So imagine that. Imagine you are firstly capturing people from the phone on the phone, and then you're using that data to then target adverts. You're then using that to now collect some more insight and get some more digital interactions. And you can collect 20, 23% of your browsing traffic through those pop-ups. Now, here's the other cool thing about that. Once you collect it, statistically speaking, you have 14 days and 6 touches to maximize the opportunity of that contact. Now, you'll probably see that by all of what I'm saying, you can't do this by manually doing anything. You have to have automation set, primed to execute based on those key dates, based on those key interactions, and it's all just there happening. Otherwise, you are not optimum, and we're coming into peaks for a lot of brands in a couple of weeks. And in that period, I cannot be doing anything manually. I absolutely have to have automation powered, set up, executing in the way that I want. Otherwise, my ad spend is just not going to yield the ROI that I need it to, because other brands are doing this. So 14 days, 6 touches. That says, beyond that, it's not the fact the brand is, sorry, the consumer's dead. It's just, it's less valuable. So, you know, Rebecca, you will have done it. You'll have signed up for the sunglasses, you know, and they've gone and said, hey, you want to come see our sunglasses, blah, blah, blah. And it feels quite intense for the first couple of weeks, and then it backs off. And that's for good reason, because not all contacts in my database are created equal. And if I keep treating everybody as equal, then I find myself in a situation where I'm asking people sat at the table if they'd like a table, and all of a sudden, ESPs start saying you're not very good at delivering emails, are you? So final things before I get on to well, the freebie giveaway. So remember the context of the 300 meters a day we scroll. Now imagine printing out one of your last emails and sellotaping it to the bottom of the Eiffel Tower. How irrelevant that email would feel in that 300 meters of scroll. It just feel like it's a pointless endeavor. But no, it is one of the most impactful and important channels that we operate. But I want to show you now about creative and about how one of the things that I see very commonly brands getting wrong is overburdening email. Email is the bait, not the full meal. So when my job of my email is to say something really simple, I've got something you want to look at, come and have a look. All the magic is on the page. All the magic's on the landing page. The email should be simple, clear. Now, to prove this point, I'm going to show you that. Right. Do me a favor. Point your eyeballs at that. Everybody just point your eyeballs at that on the screen. And you'll go, blah, 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 blah. Right. Now, everybody might be different. Well, in fact, you are. I know that there is a split. Here's what happened, right? You read that first. Yeah, of course. And then you read that one. Of course you did. But then you read that one. Or did you read that one? Go on, Chris, what did you do?
Oh, it's the top. Yeah. So I was textbook, the main line, one underneath, textbook. And then right to the top.
Rebecca, what about you? Did you go top? Did you go down to the bottom? Where did you go?
Yeah, I think I went top and then the line above because I was like, oh wait, why did I just skim that? And then back to the bottom and then all around.
Right. Okay. So let me just do, the reason I've showed you that is because I've controlled your eyeballs until a point of fraction. And now it's that bit of fraction that I want to remove. So if I was to do that, and you were looking at this for the first time, you would read this bit, followed by this bit, followed by this bit, and then wouldn't even bother with that bit. You'd skip straight past that bit. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that, and you said it earlier on about mobile first, it was called mobile first. Now it's just the way. So it's not just mobile first, it's how we do stuff. And so when we look at the brands that are being really successful, they remove complications. So the difference is I created a hierarchy and I broke that hierarchy when I introduced this column because it all of a sudden, it's more eye-catching. I don't want you to do that. And it was an unintentional thing. By just removing it, I have complete control of where your eye goes. So when I have that complete control in a design a bit more like this, I have to rely on segmentation because I can no longer send out one email fits all to everybody because that doesn't work anymore. It used to be you'd think, well, if I put more buttons in, then the chances of somebody finding something they like is much higher. No, if I say 100 things, it's unlikely you'll align to one of them. Whereas if I say one or two things, it's likely you might find a alignment to one of those statements. So segmentation is what drives that insight to say, right, he's interested in Cyprus, he's interested in premium, and he's Manchester, and he's X, and he's Y. And by the way, he's been in store recently, so we know he's actually active. Right, what are you going to do next? And so that's how segmentation can really help me drive the content and remove the need to say everything and just be really specific on what do you want to say. November is the best time to go to Cyprus from Manchester or whatever you might want to say. So to just close that off, I could talk for hours on, as you know, on this particular topic. But we have a giveaway. And do you want to do that? Is it, oh, you bring it up. Brilliant.
Oh, yep. Sorry. I think, is it the QR code one?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right.
That's perfect. Hopefully
Wonderful.
It worked. So we have a giveaway. So guys, one of the other massive challenges that brands often have is getting emails into the inbox. And so a lot like SEO, getting into the inbox is now an algorithm that we've got to crack. And so it's largely based on contact engagement. One of the things that we've got here is we can do a full inbox audit for you. So if you want to know, if you've got a sneaky suspicion that my emails aren't delivering into inboxes, or I'm not getting the return that I should be getting from email, it could be some of the stuff that I've already talked about, in which case, of course, we're here to talk to you and we'd love to show you what we can do. But if you've got a sneaky suspicion that there's something more underlying, we've got the ability for you to scan that, leave us your details. We'll give you 100 email addresses. And so what you do is you send an email, just an example one from your ESP, into those 100 emails, and we give a complete audit of how many went into spam, how many went into the inbox, how many, what the problems were, what the ESPs were saying about you, everything that you want to know, everything that we need to know as well to help you. So if you want to do that, this is something that we only offer to friends of partners. There's obviously a lot of work and time goes into this, but it is a really valid and valuable process for brands to know where they are and what's happening with their emails once they leave their buildings. So it's free, no pressure. And James is the guy that follows up. Sorry, James, I've hogged all the limelight as usual. So yes. Was there any questions? No, there wasn't. That was beautifully simple. I answered everything perfectly, I assume.
That was absolutely brilliant, Adam. Thank you so much. We did have one comment question. So someone asked if you have a pie chart for the over 55 age group demographics, as our market tend to be 45 plus.
I do. I just merged that back end actually. The split is actually let me see. We've got 45 to 64 and 65 old and older. This is from a number of different there's about 5 or 6 contributing factors to that report. And unfortunately, it's split. Yeah, like I say, it's 16 to 24, 25 to 44, 45 to 64, and 65 and older. And it would be no surprise, it's more of an amplification of what we saw in the 45 plus in the comparison to the 24s. So where TikTok and Snapchat's big, it's more skewed towards email, news, traditional media, and SMS. WhatsApp is a smaller slice. So I think it just serves to say there's no surprises in there. There's no new channels that you didn't know of.
Wonderful, thank you. So I'll allow another minute for people to just add in any questions they might have. Otherwise, like I said, I will be following up with an email, essentially giving my contact information, James's contact information, that QR code that you just saw on the screen, so that you can get your free audit from Force24. And if you have any questions, feel free to send out an email if they're marketing related general questions, if they're very specific to Force24 email marketing. Feel free to reach out. Also happy to send a copy of the presentation to anyone who would like it. So yeah, thank you all so much for attending today. Thank you, Adam, James, for joining, Cress as well for giving our lovely intro. And we hope to talk to you guys all another time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.